Okay, here we go. As always, I open this service with a prayer, and I open this prayer with what I know to be the most potent words I or we can speak. Thank you. Thank you, Spirit, for the month of November, when we show our gratitude for the blessings of our family, friends, and home, among many others. Thank you for supporting our journeys in all ages of our life, whether we think of ourselves as brave or timid, whether the journeys are deliberate or accidental. They are the journeys of the heroes within us. Thank you for being and supplying everything we need to determine our true home and to make it back there. As I continue this prayer, I recognize that there is only one God, known by many names, but still only one. One Father, Mother, Parent, Creator of the one life, and that life is perfect, complete, and divine, and is my life now, and the life of all people, all animals, all nature, all of us here, out there, everywhere, and all of us coming together, united as one family. So from a place of truly knowing that home is where the heart is, I declare those hearts and our minds open as we show up here this morning to learn the spiritual principles that form the foundation of our faith and to trust what we know is true of spirit within us today, tomorrow, and eternally. And so it is. Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Louisville Center for Spiritual Living. I am Pat Ferguson, your spiritual director for 2022. It's a new month. We love it when it's new month. We have new colors, new backgrounds, the whole thing. So this is the month of turkey and dressing, Black Friday shopping, and being grateful. As metaphysicians, we strive to be grateful every day for every reason, but somehow society has managed to make November the do it or die month for giving thanks. CSL Home Office has us discussing home and all the memories around that, and maybe some of the baggage around that. Without a doubt, there's some gratitude to be shown, and maybe we'll throw in some love and a little forgiveness around that as well. And I'll bet that our speaker, Scott Marcus, has some interesting ideas about how to tie it all together. You'll know Scott's face. He's been here before. And so get used to him, because I'm not going to give him a bio anymore, but I will today, right after special music. I'll introduce you to him again. As is my custom, I open my morning prayers before service to welcome the day, and I light that lovely candle behind us. I want it to be shining, warm, and welcoming when you come here. I want it to be the first thing you see when you enter our Zoom room, because welcome you, we do. No matter what denomination you were brought up in, no matter what spiritual faith you came from, or if this is the first time you've ever experienced any type of spiritual service, all are welcome here. And the most important thing for you to remember is that you are welcome here. Join me in saying our mission and vision statement. Our mission statement is to teach personal transformation as a virtual community, living the principles of science of mind and celebrating all paths to God. And our vision statement is a world that honors and respects all people. So, for our new opening song for the month of November, I wanted something that said home and gratitude. And so since Earth is our big picture home, we're going to open November with John Rutter's For the Beauty of the Earth. I am the hero of my journey. Welcome with me for our spiritual reading and meditation, our practitioner of the week, Vicki Jeter.
Thank you, Pat. For our reading this morning, I picked a selection from this month's Science of Mind by Reverend Peter Weldes, who is a minister out of Dallas. And it's just so much my pleasure and my privilege that we have this lovely theme this month of home and the hero's journey. And I'll be saying a little bit more about that when we get to meditation. Reverend Petra wrote, "Slowly, I have begun to realize why beauty is one of the qualities of the divine. It is restful to the mind and nourishing to the soul, peaceful to the body. Beauty invites us to contemplate it. And in the form and color and texture, we are invited to sense the infinite. By communion, we mean silently entering into divine harmony and beauty until we feel that harmony and beauty in our own souls and our own beings." That was actually a quote from Ernest Holmes in Richer Living. I've learned that all the beauty made by humans is just as beautiful as an expression of the one in anything in nature. There is something within each one of us that is capable of such beauty. Seeing this allows me to perceive the gift, the beauty, and the unique perfection of each and every person. And if it's true of them, it must also be true about me. It is my spirit, the very essence of me, and all the things that make me precious and unique that are what make me beautiful too. Making our homes sacred helps us see ourselves and each other as the sacred presence we are in expression. As each of us finds our own way to let the sacred emerge through our living spaces, we express the very truth of our being, neither forced nor rigid, nor needing to look like anyone else. As we create space and lovingly fill space with those things that delight our senses and are restful to our being, then our house becomes a home. It becomes not only a home to the humans who live there, but it becomes a sacred space in which our spirit communes with universal spirit and recognizes itself. May the beauty of your home fill your heart and open your awareness to the ever-present sacred divine. Now, I just invite you to take a breath. And our meditation today is a guided meditation in which I invite you to use your imagination like a palette of colors. I'm going to make some suggestions, but as I do, make them your own. And to set the stage for this meditation, I want to offer you a little template. I don't know how many of you have ever actually read the original Lord of the Rings Hobbit, but Bilbo Baggins the Hobbit starts out in his hobbit hole, which is his home. And you may remember that the whole setting for how that hero's journey started is that Bilbo Baggins was very comfortable in his hobbit house, and he was not all too sure that he wanted to go with the wizard on this journey. And then ultimately he does. So with that in mind, today's meditation is actually an adapted exercise that's offered in the book called the Empath Survival Guide. And it was a book by Judith Orloff. And what I'm saying there is, as you consider this and as you experience it, this is suggested as a meditation process that you can do regularly with regard to cultivating this house becoming a home. To begin, imagine your connection to Mother Earth. And as you considered many, many times when people make that suggestion in a meditative space, imagine that, like trees, we have roots energetically that can run through the body, go down through your feet, and anchor you to Mother Earth. Think about your sense of connection to Mother Earth. And take a breath and imagine that going upward, we have that same relationship with Father Sky. That as your energy reaches up through your crown chakra, we have that connection to Earth naturally and effortlessly. And now, with this idea in mind that we are connected, Earth and Sky, the in-between space, the Middle Earth, is your home. And from the bottom, it's connected, and at the top, it's connected. And it is a system of circulation and safety. And in that space, I want you to imagine that you are crafting your home there in that middle space that is connected at all levels by Earth and Sky to Spirit and all of the creative power there is in the universe, the power that created you. Your body and your home are an extension of your soul. And if you suggest to yourself that my home is my divine sanctuary, and how would I have it be in this space, in your Middle Earth, you can craft that template perfectly to you. And so just imagine if you can have it be any way at all. If you're standing outside your private little hobbit hole, your home, what does the door look like? And as you imagine coming in the door, what's the first thing you see that makes you know I'm home? What do you smell in your home? What do you look forward to as you come in and set down your parcels or your wallet or your keys or your purse? And as you enter in, where is your space, your favorite chair? Is there a fireplace? Is there your favorite artwork on the walls? Is there an altar where you do your sacred practices? And as you walk through your home, how does it connect to your kitchen and your bedroom where you sleep? What does it feel like in your most special, sacred, and safe place? As sanctuary, home is the place where you can land and be free to truly be yourself and do that deeper work, do that deeper keeping in touch with yourself and all the parts of you. Not to be concerned from this place inside about the rest of your world. The rest of your world merges with you naturally within spirit. Here, this sanctuary is just for you. And as you consider that this is a space that you can visit every day, and each day you can go in and make adjustments to it, you can ask yourself, what do I need in my senses? What beauty can I bring to my sight? What loveliness can I bring to my ears? What music would I play in my home? If I could play anything at all, whenever I wanted? How do I allow myself to realize that what I take in perception is what comes back out? And to create this space as a place of safety and anchoring, and a place where as soon as I step into it within myself, I know I am connected to my oneness with spirit, not only in essence, but also to Mother Earth, and that it all works together to support everything I could possibly need and every prayer I pray. So with this in mind, take just that moment, find that space, settle in, and name your prayer and intention right here and right now. And when you're ready, come back. And I say, thank you, thank you, thank you, God, for this opportunity. I release it, I let it be, and so it is.
Thank you, Vicki. Our special music this morning, we're all very familiar with Somewhere Over the Rainbow, that wonderful classic by Judy Garland. This song has a good message about our journeys home, and I thought you would like to hear it from another voice, Eva Cassidy, who has left us way too soon. She was just getting started. But I hope you enjoy the song and enjoy her version of Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
The
Beautiful. Well, he's back again. This is 3 times this year. That makes him a favorite. And when he was here last, we congratulated him on becoming a practitioner, licensed, panel, the whole thing's all over. And he passed with flying colors, I'm sure. So he's back today to talk to us about There's No Place Like Home. I want to remind you he is a National Speakers Association member, and that he also teaches and facilitates classes and workshops for CSL. Even though he's a new practitioner, he's been doing that for a long time. So welcome back, Scott. We are glad to have you here again.
Thank you. I am glad to be here. And just a correction, I'm a former member of the National Speakers Association. So former past president of the Northern California chapter. So we have the term hero has come up already several times. It will come up again as part of what's called the hero's journey. Excuse me. And it's odd how in the midst of disaster, how time can freeze for a hero. Each moment becomes engraved unmovingly in granite. So the waves of heat lick my face. Barely can I keep my eyes open. Even if I could, it does no good because the smoke is just too thick. The 2 children who are trapped with me on the platform are hugging my left leg, too terrified to move. They're inhibiting my abilities to save us. Sally, the younger of the 2 children, buries her face in my pant leg. She's holding Sasha, her dolly, tight against her for protection. I'm scared, she wails over the snapping sounds of a fire. I want my mommy. With that, she clinches even tighter to my leg, attempting to climb inside me, hoping to make herself big with my courage. If she only knew, she wouldn't even try, because inside I am sand, I am not concrete. In front of us, I see a wall of death, giant licking flames blocking us from the barn door and the cool safety that is outside. So using one arm to try and comfort Jason and Sally, I use my other to hold a towel across my face, fending off the suffocation. We'll be okay, I shout at the kids, voice raised to be heard above the crackling inferno. Help will be here in time. I pause. Help is on the way, I repeat more quietly, more to assure myself than to assure them. What is taking so freaking long, I think? Someone has to have noticed the thick smoke and called 911 by now. Shouldn't we be hearing sirens? There's no time to wait. This is up to us. I try and slide one arm out from between the 2 children. They respond by grabbing me even tighter. I'm not going anywhere, I reassure them while extracting my limb and directing them, hold on to each other. They do. Their cheeks are pressed together. Reaching into my backpack, I find my jackknife and my rope. My Boy Scout days have served their purpose. Using the closed knife as a weight, I tie the rope to it and I toss its heaviness over the rafter above us, making sure not to let go of the trailing end. Grabbing the knife as it swings back after looping the beam, I tie the rope in a slip knot around itself and I pull on it so the knot rises to the rafter, leaving us with like a Tarzan vine of hemp. Tugging on it, I test its strength. It ought to work. It has to. We don't have much time. Give me your belts, I tell my young friends. Nervously, they oblige, trying to hold back fears. Fastening their belts together and around them and my leg, I strap them to me. Now hold on to me and don't let go. We're going to swing through the fire very quickly. And when we get to the other side, I'm going to let go of the rope. We're all going to fall down. It'll hurt a little, but we're going to be okay. I manage a weak smile. They look up at me, their eyes as wide as planets. They nod silently in unison. Before we jump, I have one more task. We had brought a thermos full of strawberry punch for our picnic. I open the top and I pour it all over the children. This will help protect us from the fire, I tell them, in response to the confused look. Sally holds up her dolly Sasha. Her too? Of course. I pour the remainder of the precious red liquid on Sasha. We're all in this together. I take a deep breath. I offer up a prayer. Ready, I shout. They nod. Dirty faces are already buried in my leg. Don't let go, I roar, and I jerk on the rope, preparing to swing us through the flames and to go to the freedom on the other side. The silly thought to infinity and beyond crosses my mind. I mean, how ridiculous is that? Scott, I hear my mother's voice. What the, I think, where's that coming from? I must be hallucinating. Isn't that what happens in the last seconds of life? Scott, what in God's name are you doing? The scene melts. My mother stands, hands on hips, at the door to my bedroom, perplexed, glaring at 9-year-old me standing on my bed. Draped around my neck, hanging from my back, is a towel serving as a cape. My terry cloth bathrobe belt is tied to the overhead light, and in the other end, it is in my hand. Belted to my leg are 2 of my favorite stuffed animals, Puppy and Bear. All of us, including most of the bed, a good section of the floor, and several nearby pieces of furniture, are drenched in strawberry punch. Life can be tough when you're the mother of a superhero. Fade to black. We are all heroes of our own journey. We all live in that place inside of us where we think that it is our life where we are the hero. And in many ways, we actually are. We are the ones who lead this life. We've heard of this hero's journey over and over and over again, where we reluctantly called, go out and face a challenge we didn't expect, conquer the challenge, come back changed for the better. We wouldn't be better if we hadn't gone out on the journey. It's called the hero's journey, and a lot of people probably all over the country at Centers for Spiritual Living are going to be talking about it. And we heard about Over the Rainbow, and we heard about the Hobbit story, and there's countless stories about the hero's journey. But I wanted to do a slightly different take on this today. I wanted our talk to be, I used to have a minister years ago, and you've probably heard this expression from some minister yourself. His name was Patrick Pollard. I believe he's now in Connecticut. And he had an expression which was treat, and then beat your feet. And what I really liked about that is, yes, make a treatment. Yes, believe. Yes, no. And if you want to just sit there and let it happen, that's great. But I think that once you commit to this, once you say, what if, you move out into the world in your own journey and you try and make things happen. You don't have to force it. It just happens. So I wanted our talk today, my talk today, to be, shall we say, a combination, certainly of the theme. I wanted it to be spiritual, have a spiritual bend to it. I wanted it to be inspirational, and I wanted it to be practical. So I do have to warn you, there will be homework. I know we normally don't go to a sermon or a message of hope or whatever you call it and expect homework. There's going to be homework. And the homework will actually start if you have some paper near you, you'll want to do it. Nobody's going to test you and you can't get it wrong. But the intention here in what I'm trying to do is get us to realize that although we, each of us, you, me, are on this hero's journey, we're not alone. On this hero's journey, in all of the stories of the hero's journey, they're not alone. The Hobbit, Bilbo Baggins, doesn't go alone. Dorothy does not go alone. We are part of society. We are part of families. We are hardwired to be with other people. We need other people. And on my hero's journey, on what I would like to talk about today, is how do we bring those other people along? Because when you really stop and think about it, home is anywhere you feel safe. Home, many times, is where we are surrounded by the familiar. We tend to equate familiar with security. Because I have all my things in my place, I feel more safe. I think it was George Carlin who used to tell a joke about we like to be surrounded by stuff. We buy houses so we can have a place for our stuff. And then when we go like to visit our family, we take our more important stuff and we take that to our family. It fits in a suitcase or two if we go in. And then let's say we're out with our family and we've gone away and our family says, hey, let's go camping somewhere. My definition of camping is any hotel that doesn't have room service. But anyway, we decide that we're going to go camping somewhere. So now we can't even bring all of the stuff we brought to our family. Now we bring our most precious stuff. We like to have our stuff with us. And our stuff makes us feel safer. It makes us feel like home. But the reality is home is anywhere we say is home. You know, the miracle of what we are dealing with right now, how Zoom has in many ways helped us over these last few years. I'm at home in the Redwoods, quite literally, while you might be at home in Kentucky or wherever else you might be. Yet we're all at home and we're all right here. We're at a collective home. So I wanted to give a little bit of time to what it takes about developing relationships to nurture us on our journey. Many people, and this is a quote from Gay and Kathleen Hendricks in the book Conscious Living, which was one of the books we had to read, at least I had to get my license. Many people think of independence as being able to stand alone successfully, but true independence is something else entirely. It's the ability to stand alone and have close relationships. It's not hard at all to withdraw to a cave or a monastery to be independent. True independence requires that you be able to relate closely to others while maintaining your sense of self. A lot of people, I think that being independent is standing strong, because if I then rely on somebody else, I am dependent. The reality is we want to be interdependent. We have the ability to stand strong on our own. We know that it is within us. We are divine. On the other hand, there is nothing wrong. If anything, it is also divine to count on the people who are around us. That's interdependent. In any relationship, there are three entities. There's you, there's me, and there's us. And all three of them need time. So one more quote before we start to move forward into some ideas that are going to, I think, help. This comes from Marianne Williamson. The purpose of an intimate relationship is not that it be a place where we can hide from our weaknesses, but rather where we can safely let them go. Only then can we know an enchantment that lasts. Our home journey is better. Our journey home is better. It is improved. It is safer. It is stronger when we are with those we love. We are, again, designed to be with others. We build cities. We build communities. We develop relationships. That is who we are. And all of us together go on this journey. So the question is, how do you develop better relationships? I know we've all got them. I'm not saying that I'm the only one who has a good relationship. I'm very happy with it. But in my years of therapy, I learned that even the best relationships cause some pain. My first marriage fell apart, not because as much as we hated each other, that wasn't the issue, or we were angry with each other all the time. We didn't have the ability to work out issues where we disagreed. Every relationship has those issues, including our relationship with ourselves, including our relationship with the divine. We have issues we need to work out, and there's nothing wrong with that. So 4 words that I learned in therapy that every relationship needs to know, that each of us needs to know. And the first word is yes. In order to bring people with us, in order to have a healthy relationship, we need to be able to say yes, far more often than no. You want to do this? Yes. Is this a good idea? Yes. How about we do this? Yes. There need to be lots and lots of yeses. But the reality is that not every relationship is solid yeses. So sometimes we need to be able to say, no, that's not something I'm going to do. That's not something I feel right about. If there are too many no's, or the no's are not caring enough, the next word is ouch. That hurt. When you did that, I felt hurt. Ouch. And if there's too many ouches, we have to say next. Now, we can do it with grace. We can do it with benevolence. We can be really kind about it. But sometimes we have to say, it's time to move on onto my own journey. So I warned you that there would be some homework. So let's move forward with this. What I'd like you to do, it's homework because you're at home and you're going to do some work. It's not that you're going to take it with you. I'm going to give you a series of questions and some ideas that I'd like you to consider. And in order to do this, the first thing I would like you to do is choose up to 3 people in your mind, or write it down, 3 people who you would like to bring along on your journey. You don't have to come up with 3. It could be 1. I don't want it to be more than 3 because then it gets too complicated. But for example, it might be your significant other. It might be a child. It might be a parent. Many of us at our age don't have our parents that we're bringing along with us anymore. It might be a friend. It might be a coworker. But 3 people. I want you to think of 3 people who are important to you up to that, who you would like to bring along on your journey. I want you to got them in mind, and you can do this again later if you come up with 3 different people. On a 1 to 10 scale, I like to do things on a 1 to 10. That's just something about me. On a 1 to 10 scale, where 10 is as supportive as they could possibly be, and 1 is you do not feel very supported from them at all. How supportive is each person? So you might say your significant other, my wife, is an 8. My minister is a 6. My children are 5. So give them some sort of number, because in order for us to move through this, we have to know where we're starting from and where we're going. So we call it a mini hero's journey. So once you've assigned to each of them a number of 1 to 10, now my next question for you is, what would it take to move them to the next higher number? So if somebody's a 5, it's kind of unrealistic to think that you're going to move them to a 10 or that they're going to want to move to a 10, but they might be willing to move to a 6. What is something that each of these people could do to move them up? If they're a 9, I don't know if you can ever have a 10, to be honest. But if they're a 7, what would it take to be an 8? If they're a 4, what would it take to be a 5? I believe that everything, and not only just in science of mind or religious science, but everything starts with intention. What is my intention? What do I want from these people? What do I want from my significant other as I move forward on my journey from birth to death and beyond and before? I'm on a hero's journey, and these people are coming with. So to make my journey better, to make it easier, to make it more secure, to make it more familiar, what do I need? What would it take to move them to the next higher number? Now, I'm not going to just let it off the hook where it's just what I need, because we're going to turn this around in a second. But what behavior would the other person have to, there's 4 things you can do with behaviors. Start a behavior, stop a behavior, do more of a behavior, or do less of a behavior. So for my significant other to be more supportive, I would like her to be more affectionate. For my son to be more supportive, I would like him to, for example, these are just hypothetical examples, stop drinking. Start, stop, do more, or do less. And as you think of these people, what could they do? What one behavior, not a whole bunch. And don't say things like, well, they could just be more respectful. What does that look like? How does that manifest itself in a behavior? So what behavior would the other person have to start, stop, do more, or do less in order to rise up 1 notch? And then how would you know that he or she did it? What is the external manifestation of that behavior? Not that they're just going to think about me more often. How would you know they're going to think about you more often? How would you know that they are paying more attention to you? How would you know that they're more supportive? What is a behavior that you could actually see? And I told you you're not going to get off the hook. So what will now you do to facilitate that for them? If you're going to ask somebody to help you on your journey, to me, it just makes sense that you help them also. I like to see it as a ladder where each of us is climbing up, and those above us are pulling us up, and those below us we pull with us. It's an endless chain of aspiring to be better. So what would you do to facilitate that for them? And then finally, here's where the homework comes in. When will you talk to that person about your intention. It's great to do this as we sit in our Zoom rooms and, oh, yeah, I'm going to do that. And then I'll get to it later. You know, as my grandmother used to say, tomorrow never comes. So when will you approach this person with love, with grace, with the knowledge and the belief that the purpose of this is to make it better for all, which is really what the whole hero's journey is about. As I leave on that road, that reluctant choice that I've had to make, and my life gets better, I also get better. The people who are with me also get better. I had a consultant many years ago when I ran a radio station. He said, if you have $1 and I have $1 and we trade dollars, we each end up with $1. If you have an idea and I have an idea and we trade ideas, we each end up with 2 ideas. So every idea that I have, every thought that I have that will help improve others that I share with them and they share with me, the cumulative is greater than the 2. So finally, in conclusion, there are, I've written several books. My very first book was called The Shade of a Tree is the Very Best Shade There Is, which is based out here in Humboldt County. It was when my oldest son moved out, and I wanted to give him all of the wisdom I could as he moved away. So I wrote down a whole series of what I considered to be wise thoughts, some that I had picked up from others, some that I had made up on my own, some from my years of speaking, and I put it all into a book. And I gave it to him. The reason the book was called The Shade of a Tree is the Very Best Shade There Is because when he was about 2, we went to a local park here, Redwood Park, lots and lots of redwoods. And he was just at the point now where he was using the bathroom. So as we were out in the park, he said that he wanted to go, it was hot, he wanted to go in the shade. I said, great, let's go under the shade of the tree. And he said, no, and he pointed over to the outhouse that was in the park. He goes, let's go in the shade in there. You know, not quite realizing that that's not the shade that most adults want to sit in. And I said, well, no, we don't need to go there. And he goes, no, we can go in that little house. It's closer and we can get shade in that little house. I said, no, you don't want to go in that little house. That's for when you go to the bathroom. You go to the bathroom. You don't go there for the shade. He goes, well, why do I want to go out in the trees? It's farther away. I said, because the shade of a tree is the very best shade there is. And he's remembered that, and he's turning 39 next week. So that's how the book came about. Anyway, one of the concepts that I put into it, it was I think it was the last one I have in the book, and I repeat it with you. If you can't have faith, have hope. If you don't have hope, have patience. If you're short on patience, have good friends. We're all on this journey together. Each of us every single day is journeying. Each of us is learning more. Each of us is discovering more. Each of us is becoming better because of the journey. And an important reminder, we are already home. We don't need to go anywhere. As Glinda, the good witch, said, you've had the power all along. All you need to do is recognize it. So with that in mind, get a little settled, take a deep breath if that's what helps you get settled. I always like to put my shoulders back, put my head over my shoulders a little bit more straight, sit up strongly, and realize that we are incredibly, I will speak in the first person for all of us, I am incredibly grateful for this gift of life that I have. There is no separation between any of us and among all of us. We are all one. It is one infinite divine source that stretches from the smallest atom and below that to the largest structures in the universe. And I am of that. And knowing that I am of that, I have infinite power, and I have the ability and the desire to have better and improved relationships, not only with the people I know, but with those that they touch and those that I don't know, and the earth and beyond. And for these wonderful relationships that live near around me and create my home, I am very grateful, and I welcome it in with a deep breath and immense gratitude that I can't even measure. I let the grace and divinity of all that is around fill me, and I savor it, and I enjoy it, and I know that I am home and I am safe, and I release this gratitude into the law of mind, knowing that as I do, it ripples forth to all and creates more gratitude and joy among everything. And I say, and so it is.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
It was beautiful and inspiring and all of those things you said. And now let us take a breath and let Scott's message find its place as we shift into prosperity time. And as Pat is so wonderful at modeling for us, we begin with thank you. And certainly LCSL begins with thank you for this time. We are so, so grateful for your presence. We're so grateful for each and every one of you who are a part of the Louisville Center for Spiritual Living community. We thank you for your time, talents, and your treasures. And if you know how you like to give, then there's no need for you to go to the chat. If you're new with us, if you'll click on the chat, you'll find all the ways that you can share with us financially. You can mail a check, you can do Givelify, you can do PayPal. And if there's any question for any of you how to engage that, just let any one of us know. And we have a new prosperity affirmation for November. It's always so much fun to see what our affirmation is going to be for the month. And this month, I'm going to say this once, and then you can say it together with us all. I am grateful to be a channel for Spirit's flow of abundance. Yes. One more time together. I am grateful to be a channel for Spirit's flow of abundance. Yes. And now I pass the basket to Miss Pat for our blessing.
One God, one life, one supply. Thank you for being the light from within that halos our time, talents, and treasures, and causes us to understand that the flow of all three from us is the same flow that circles back to us multiplied. We are grateful to be blessed in such ways, both as a center and individually. Blessing the gift and the giver and our center, that is the blessed receiver. With great gratitude, I lift these words of appreciation into law that only says yes, and I release them there to become evident. And so it is.
So it is. And now we move to this week's announcements. And here I am looking in the mirror. Next week's speaker is Vicki Jeter, RScP. I so invite you all to join us for next week. I'm excited about next week. We're going to take this whole idea of the hero's journey to the next level, and it's a beautiful thing, and I'm sure you're not going to want to miss it. Now, after service, particularly for our new people, we have sharing time. So there's going to be closing song, and then Pat does a lovely benediction for the official close, but we don't go anywhere. We like to have the opportunity to be able to reflect on what we've heard and ask questions. And also, if you have a prayer request or you would like prayer support, the practitioner of the week, which that's me this week, or any one of our practitioners, are happy to sit with you after, and you can also just let us know you'd like to submit a prayer request to the whole prayer team. And also, closing thought, you are magnificent. So hold your arms out that way. You are magnificent.
Yes, you are magnificent. Thank you, Vicki. Our closing song for November is Go With God by Denise Rosier.
Yeah. Farther than lands you have ever imagined, deeper than even the oceans of blue. An open horizon is waiting like morning to waken the dreamer who's living in you. So now go with the wind at your back and the sun on your face and a song in your heart and a life full of grace. Go in peace and in truth and let love lead your way. Go with God. Go with God. Stronger than will in the soul of a fighter, higher than hope in the heart of a child. There is a longing, a yearning inside us, reaching for greatness and won't be denied when you go with the wind at your back and the sun on your face and a song in your heart and a life full of grace. Go in peace and in truth and let love lead your way. Go with God. Go with God. Go with the wind at your back and the sun on your face and a song in your heart and a life full of grace. Go in peace and in truth and let love lead your way. Go with God. Go with God. Go with God. With the sun on your face and a song in your heart, go with God.
There's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. Said by Dorothy and all of us at one time or another. Ending the service as we began for the collective, I say thank you. Thank you, Spirit, for home. Whatever or wherever we currently call home, what we call home from our youth, and any and all places we might call home in our coming years. Thank you for reminding us that there's no place like it because there's no person exactly like us. So we make every place unique, every journey unique, simply due to who we are. Thank you for making it easy to find you at the center of our being and with us every step of the way home. We are so fortunate just to have this day, our yesterday, and all of our tomorrows, and we are equally rewarded by our connectedness to one another. We know the truth of our blessings, and we appreciate all that we have and all that we are capable of being when we accept not only who we are, but whose we are. And as always, we're especially thankful for this philosophy that taught us that God is within and we are never separated, not now, not ever. And on these and multiple other gratitudes, and from the place where our hero's journey has joyfully brought us to today, we lift these words into a law that always says yes, automatically and impartially. And there we release them. And so it is.